I now request the volunteers to please give a token of thanks to the guests. So please take them. I would now like to request Dr. V.S. Jayalakshmi, Assistant Professor of the Department of English and Cultural Studies, Manipur University, to please give the welcome address to this workshop.
A very good morning to you all. It is indeed my honor and privilege to welcome you all on behalf of Department of English and Cultural Studies to a workshop on new trend in open access research publishing, introducing F1000 research and insight into publishing, which is organized by the Department of English and Cultural Studies in collaboration with the Department of Adult Continuing Education and Extension, supported by the Altai and Council for Teachers Education Forum Manipur chapter. I would also like to extend my warm welcome to the HOD Department of English and Cultural Studies, Dr. I. Gambhir Singh, and I also wish to extend my deep appreciation to Rajkumar, Dr. Suresh Singh, Assistant Professor and also Secretary General, Council for Teacher Education Forum Manipur chapter. And it also gives me immense pleasure to welcome our distinguished speaker, Pankaj Bardwas, Business Development Director, Taylor and Francis Group, Rottnest, and Surajit Sarkar, Sales Manager, Books, Taylor and Francis Group, who agreed to put an insightful knowledge and rendition on the new trend in publishing and research. I am also thankful to my colleagues, research scholars, and my dear students and other participants who take their time out to attend this workshop. I expect all of you for your active participation and discussion and make this workshop a grand success. Thank you.
I would now like to call upon Dr. Rajkumar Suresh, Secretary General, Council for Teachers Education Forum, Manipur chapter, to kindly speak a few words.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Dr. Gambhir, Dr. Pankaj Bardwas, sir, Dr. Surajit Saha, and all the faculty members of the Department of English and Cultural Studies and the Department of Adult Continuing Education and Extension, Manipur University, and all the learned research scholars of the Manipur University. Yes, most of the participants here are the research scholars pursuing research studies. So we all must be aware of the UGC guidelines and the PhD ordinance of the Manipur University. That we need at least 2 publications to complete our research work or to get the PhD degree. Now, when we say about the publication, we have many publishers all over the world, and the UGC has clearly given the instructions that the publications which we are going to have must be under the UGC clear listed journals or under the Web of Science and the Scopus journals. So for the publication part, the members or the keynote speakers of our today's workshop, they will have better insight, or they may give better insight on the process of the publication. When we say of the publication, why do we need to publish our research work? We need publication not only to gain the degrees, but we need publications to share our knowledge and information which we have gained through our research and to have a, input into the knowledge in our area of studies. When we say of the research, I just remind some knowledge which I had gained during my research work. One of our senior faculty members once told me that the research work which we are all going, or which we are all undergoing, he put it up in a simile, that the research work which we are undergoing has been similarized with the ant, spider, and the bee. The ant, as we all know, can carry the weight 1,000 more times than his body weight. The ant accumulates the fruits and shares when he needs. The spider makes the web, coke webs, and gather fruits. Third is the bee. The bee collects nectars from the flowers, digests it, and gives it sweet honey. The publishers, when we say of the publishers would like new ideas, new insights. So they are looking for the nectar and the honey, not the the accumulated old things. So when we say of the publication, you please go into your research work more deeply so that you can produce honey. And with these few words, I take you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Suresh. Now I would like to call upon Professor Gambhir, Head of the Department of English and Cultural Studies, Manipur University, to kindly speak a few words about this portion.
Good morning to you once again. Respected Dr. Suresh on the dais, Sri Pankaj Bhardwaj from Francis Routledge publication, and Surajit Sarkar, sales manager. And also, I wish my best wishes to the organizers, young teachers, both from English and adult education department. And of course, most important is the research scholars. Without you, this kind of program is not, meaningful. And I'm happy to mention the research scholars from adult education, philosophy department, dance and music, apart from research scholars from English. And I want to give my special mention to the English research scholars who belong to 2019 batch, who have readily agreed to spend some amount. Otherwise, this would not have been easy, and it would have taken a long time, because they have saved some money from their scholarships, and they have contributed, which is lying in the department as pool. And out of this, we decide to spend few amount, and the rest we will see how to conduct another workshop, which can be implemented in the true sense of the term. And we can bring other scholars also who can, for that, Pankaj Bhardwaj said this topic will be better. And Dr. Suresh has rightly mentioned the importance of research. We have started counting the number of theses in Manipur University library. As we know, if your research is not presentable in terms of quality. If your research is good, then other publishers also will come. So we decided to see how many research theses are there. And of course we can remember Cambridge University, Oxford University. You will get your degree, but the research work belongs to the university. If you want to get it published, we need extra permission from the university authority. So let us take it seriously, as Dr. Suresh has mentioned. In the process of today's transaction, I believe you will ask important questions. Though the topic is new trend in open access research publishing, and importance of publication is a must for us. And luckily, we have Routledge Publishers representative. They have Scopus. If your journal is not listed in UGC care list journals, if you have Scopus, no problem. As IITs in India, they made mandatory that whatever publication should be under Scopus. I think they can explain. So why we have decided in 2 days to organize this. Their presence in Manipur University has to be utilized. I'm sorry for hijacking them from other programs.
And I'm on a holiday.
Yeah. So I know.
I would like to guest today after.
So we have to get this kind of opportunity and give opportunity to you also to create a viable academic atmosphere, as well as to have new insights about your writing, as Dr. Suresh has said. Therefore, I believe whatever you have in your mind, without fear, you will inquire, and your queries will be the driving force for us to organize further meaningful workshop or seminar, etc. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Rabir. And now we will proceed with the technical session of this workshop. I hand over the stage to Mr. Pankaj Bhardwaj, who is the Business Development Director, Taylor & Francis Group, Routledge. He will give a presentation on the topic, New Trend in Open Access Research Publishing, introducing F1000 research.
Thank you very much. Without much ado, Dr. Gambhir and Dr. Suresh already set the stage with their kind words, and I would directly move on to my presentation. And I would like to make it a little interactive, and we are asking a couple of questions, not many questions. Please participate and share your knowledge with us so that we take back something from you and you take back something from us. So as the topic suggests, as the topic suggests on the board here, on the screen here, is that I'm going to talk about new trends in open access publishing, and I'm going to introduce something called F1000 research, which is something very disruptive, I would say, in the world of publishing. It is a model, which is a publishing model, which is very unique, and it breaks all the myth and all the processes of the traditional research publishing. So I'm going to talk about that. And I'm also going to touch a little bit upon the open access publishing, and I assume that the scholars in this room will have some idea about open access publishing, what the open access publishing is all about. So as I've just listed here, I'm going to just give you a little overview. I'm going to touch upon the little bit of introduction on open access. I'm going to switch on to introducing F1000 Research, the publishing model of F1000 Research, and then explaining its scholarly publishing model, which is very unique, very different from the traditional publishing model. And then how F1000 can collaborate with the universities, research organizations, and private organizations who are engaged in research and the research output. And then we'll switch on to a question-answer session where we all can have an interactive session. So before I begin, let me just introduce to you, I hope, people in this room, they know what Taylor & Francis and Routledge Publishing is. How many of you have heard about Routledge? So I hope you have heard good things about Routledge. So Routledge, just let me give you a little introduction to Routledge. Routledge is a part of a company called Taylor & Francis. And this company, Routledge, is 200-year-old publisher. So now Taylor & Francis Group has integrated Routledge into it. So Routledge is a part of Taylor & Francis Group, and Routledge is a social, humanities and social science publishing division of Taylor & Francis, and we have another division called CRC Press, which publishes basically medical, engineering, and basic sciences. So for your department, I think Routledge is a more relevant brand. And Routledge publishes today around 7,000 new books in the academic discipline. And we are the top 10 publishers of the world. So it's a very, very large organization and publishing a lot of research in the form of monographs, handbooks, textbooks, and a variety of research output. Plus, Routledge owns about 2,400 journals in a variety of disciplines. So that's the academic profile. So let me begin with a question on the screen: is what is an open access? So can anyone give me a little idea about it? What do you understand as an open access? Anyone in the audience? Okay, no problem. So let me just what is open access? Open access publishing is when your research is published in a journal and it is free for anybody anywhere in the world to use, read. So that is called open access publishing. Particularly in India, majority of the research is published in subscription journals, right? So if you have published a paper on any aspect of English literature, so your paper will be published in a particular journal which deals with that particular topic, and the readers to your research are going to be limited because unless the journal is subscribed by the institution or the individual, they cannot read your paper. But open access publishing, which is a new trend in open publishing, breaks all that rule. They say that if the research has been conducted and it has been published, it should be accessible to everyone. So that is open access, and it's a very growing trend all over Europe, America, and the rest of the international community. In India now, the government is already in the process of talking about one nation, one subscription policy, where everything is going to be open access. So open access is a broad international movement that seeks to grant free and open online access to academic information, publication, or any form of data. A publication is defined open access when there are no financial, legal, or technical barriers to accessing it. And when anyone can read, download, copy, and distribute that copy also. I mean, nowadays it's a copyright, you cannot give it to print and take it, but open access just breaks all those rules. And open access makes research information available to readers at no cost. So you don't have to pay to read an article, right? So what happens is that the research gets widespread, and the reader who can read it for free gets benefit from that by reading that research. You can cite the research, you can use the research, or reuse the research. And readers have access to scholarly information by unless a traditional subscription model in which the readers have to access scholarly information by paying a subscription, usually via library. So it's now gone. The days are going to go about that. Now, how does open access happen? How does open access publishing happen? So there are three broad categories of open access publishing. One is in full open access journals. So every publishers, international publishers, they have full open access journals. So that can be used as to publish your paper without this being subscribed or to be paid to be used. There are hybrid journals. Like for example, a journal will also have subscription as well as if part of it will be open access. So there are open access journals, there are hybrid journals, and then the third element, which is I'm going to talk about more, is called open access platform, right? And they can also be said as mega journal. So let me just also ask a question that has anybody in this room heard about a publishing platform, research publishing platform before? You have heard about journals, you have heard about books, but has anyone heard about open access publishing platforms? No. Okay. So let me just give you a little orientation about that. And now I will give that orientation by introducing F1000 research. Now, just before I get into this presentation, let me tell you that platforms are basically subject neutral, right? A platform can take subject across the board. So you have a paper in English literature or you have a paper in biosciences. All can be published on publishing platforms. There are very few platforms right now in the world, and F1000 is one of the first platforms which has emerged in the scenario. And as I go on my presentation, you will know what the philosophy behind having a platform is. So in general scenario, suppose you have published a paper, now you will start looking for a journal which fits into the scope of your paper, right? So that takes a long time. Even if you find that journal, you may not be having an acceptance in the journal because of XYZ reasons. So your research publishing gets delayed, and by the time your research either gets wasted or somebody else has done a better research. So your research is particularly wasted in the current scenario. But the platforms are something where there is no structure of scope. You can publish any discipline. So that is the beauty of a platform. So let me introduce F1000 research. And the philosophy behind F1000 is publish fast, publish without restrictions. Meaning churning out research publication speedily rather than taking 1 year for giving acknowledgement to a paper, and also without any restrictions, which means a platform, F1000 platform doesn't restrict you to a particular format of research. So you don't have to typically do a 8,000 word paper in a particular format, but you can publish your research in a variety of formats. To give you an example, you can even publish a PowerPoint slide. Suppose you have done a PowerPoint slide for your lecture in the classroom, and this contains something unique, and you don't have time or you don't have inclination to convert it to a full research paper. Even a PowerPoint slide can be published. It can be allocated DOI, digital object identifier. It can be citable. It can be accessible, readable. So that's the beauty of platform, and F1000 is one of them. So let me just quickly tell you that F1000 was launched in 2013. It was an independent publishing platform. It basically is called an innovative open access research publishing platform, or a mega journal, for researchers, scientists, and scholars and clinicians. So a variety of field of study. What it does, it offers a rapid and transparent publishing of research articles and other research output without editorial bias, right? The principal philosophy of F1000 research is editors of the publisher don't control or judge your research. Let the person who is eligible to judge your research be the judge. So editors cannot decline your research saying that, oh no, it's rubbish. They cannot do that. So we don't allow that judgment to the editors. All the articles that are published in the F1000 research platform benefit from transparent peer review. Now, transparent peer reviews are another inverted commas, because generally we are used to having double blind or a blind peer review. But in the platform, it's a transparent peer review. I'll come in detail about that. And the editorial guidance on making a source data open available. So the key objectives of F1000 research platform is reducing research waste, because it churns out research very fast, accelerating access, reach, and impact. So because it is open access, the reach is wide. Anybody, even a person sitting in the say in South Africa, will be able to access your research, which otherwise that person may not be. Supporting careers and capacity building, because your research is churned out fast, your career announcement is there, you get your grade, you get your whatever academic accreditations you likely to get by publishing your research. In 2020, Taylor & Francis Group acquired F1000 platform. So it was an independent company till 2020, but last year, Taylor & Francis Group acquired this, and now it has become the part of Taylor & Francis Cloud. So it's a it has got an academic affiliation with us. So, as on date, Taylor and Francis, F1000 platform partners with some of the leading organizations in the world. F1000 is used by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who is into active research in child care, medicine, women, and variety of. So they use F1000 platform to publish, open it up for publishing to their scholars. European Commission has recently acquired F1000, and they are now all the Horizon 2020 grants which European Commission is giving. They all are being published on F1000 platform. Then you can see, so WHO is using, in India now recently, Department of Biotechnology, Ministry of Science is now using F1000 platform. And because we acquired it at the time of pandemic, we are not able to take it very widely into India. So in fact, I'm lucky. I was on a holiday. I was telling Professor Gambhir, and I happen to meet whenever I come here to him. So this is a great opportunity for me to be presenting F1000 to the scholars here. So this is how we are working. We are also working with University of Stanford and then many colleges based in London. So you will come to know in the later part of the. So let me explain the scholarly publishing model of F1000 and why it is unique. And I also call it disruptive. People are not able to grasp it. They're shocked. How can this happen? Why it is not? Why it is so different from the traditional publishing model? So in F1000, what happens? When an article is published to F1000, the article is sent out to an editorial team who don't judge the article by the subject of the article. Their job is basically just to check the basics criteria of an article, like for example, plagiarism, structure of the article, affiliation of the author, whether he belongs to a standard institution or not, and then whether it matches the fair data policy, whether the open sources which have been cited in this have been acknowledged duly. So all those editorial checks are done. And if a paper passes those basic editorial criteria, which I'm sure when a researcher writes a paper, they take into consideration the proper formats. If the article matches those criteria, the article is published within 14 days. Now that's the average time we are maintaining. Now at this stage, the article is published. Article has been allocated a DOI, which is called the Digital Object Identifier. And this stage, article is available and searchable in Google Scholar. So anybody can go to Google Scholar, type the keyword, whatever you provide, and they will come to the screen will throw your article as well. At this stage, whoever is searching your article, who is accessing your article, can cite your article. Now, this is the pre-publication stage. Your article has been published, but it has not been subjected to peer review, right? But what has happened here? Your article hasn't been delayed. Your research has not been put in a lock. It is there to the public to read because it basically meets all the criteria. After the research is allocated DOI, it is published, then the peer review process starts. So in a typical environment, peer review happens before the publication, and that takes very long time, right? As long as sometimes you get a rejection after 1 year of submission of the article. But here, we just do away with that particular process. And once your article is published, the second stage of publishing is, it is open to peer review. So, according to the topic of your research, a peer reviewer is assigned by us, by the team. And we generally do three peer reviews for an article. And so what happens is that peer reviewers, in the peer review process, peer review will publish their comments in open on the platform itself. So on the side of the article, you can see peer reviewers comment. So suppose, for example, out of 3 peer reviews, 2 have rejected your article and 1 has accepted your article, right? So the model will allow you to improvise your article on the basis of the peer review, other 2 peer reviewer comments, so that the quality is more enhanced. So you revise your article and resubmit your article. And suppose after second or third resubmission, your article gets 2 tick marks, 2 OK from the peer researchers, and 1 approval with reservations. So there is a provision on this side where you You can see one peer reviewer has green tick, two have green tick if they're happy with you now, or with your research, and one is still having some reservation, so he puts a question mark. But this is the minimum qualifying criteria. So if 2 peer reviews are out of 3 qualify your article, then your article is immediately indexed in Scopus and a variety of international indexers who are identified by any top academic authority. So this is the whole complete model of F1000 research platform, and in the coming time you will see more such platforms coming into world. It is new to us still in India, but in Europe and in, as I said, in other countries, it is now the new trend in publishing research. No more traditional journals, no more subscription journals, no more running after the publishers or the journals to accept you. No more peer reviews to be becoming your masters. Peer review's job in this process is just to help you enhancing your article, not to reject your article. Right? So this is the model. Some endorsement for the people who are already using F1000. So to see a paper in 5 days in a professional layout is quite astounding. 2 useful peer review appeared in less than 2 weeks. So 14 days to publish, and about roughly 2 days is too, I would say too much, but then generally it takes about 30 days for the peer review process to complete and you to revise your article. So in total about 45 days to 2 months. If your research is really great, it gets published and it is seen in the international world. So this is the model. Now, what are the key elements of F1000 when publishing? Rapid publishing is the first principle. We don't want any research to go waste. Post-publication transparent peer review, which is combining preprint and peer review into a continuous process. So this is another unique thing. Article diversity. So as I said in the beginning, no need to stick to a typical research format. You can have a diversity of articles. So for example, you can have a method article, you may have a study protocol, you may have a software tool, you may have a systematic review of a journal, of a book or a journal or a paper. You have data notes, you have research notes, you have antibody validation articles, opinion articles, case report, registered report, even a book review. If you have reviewed a book with your own opinion, even that can be published in this platform. It is open access, fully open access. Versioning and continuous publishing is allowed, which means even if after your paper has been indexed and you think that now you want to add to your research, so you will get the facility to improvise your article, which is not the case in any typical journal. So where you can even update your article, same article, or you can have a second article in continue or the second volume of your article. Indexing to maximize discoverability and reach. As I said, this is fully indexed. It's an indexed journal, and all the papers published on this are simultaneously indexed with the path of peer review. Article-based citation and attention matrix. I will come to that. What does it mean? And F1000 is a part of DNF group, and Taylor Francis is identified in the UGC or any other international academic foundations. So when I said range of article-based pages, once your article is published, on platform itself, you can see a variety of indices of your article. So for example, this particular article, which is on, you can read the topics, it's complicated. This article has got 29,000 views, 2,782 downloads. On PubMed Central, which is another indexer as compared to Scopus, it got 1,658 views and 475 downloads. It has got 43 citations in Scopus, 28 on PubMed. It was mentioned in 3 Google posts. It was tweeted by 272 people on 3 Facebook pages. So you get a range of information about how your article is doing, right? Which is not very easy to get when you do traditional publishing. And this is all it's on your hand. You click the F1000, you go to your paper, and you see all this. Now, what are the key benefits of adopting F1000? So, benefit for a researcher, as I said, it enables authors, not editors, to decide what they wish to publish. All types of research can be published rapidly, and I already spoken out about all these forms of articles. Even you can see even a poster. So if you design the poster which conveys some sort of philosophy or some sort of your unique identity of your personality, even that can be published. Supports early career researchers to share their quality research. Now, early career researchers are the worst affected, I would say, because they are not as recognized as an established researcher. So where do they go? So these are the platforms for the early career researcher to make a mark in the research community. Benefit for research aims to shift the way research and researchers are evaluated. You would have come to know by my presentation that it's a very different way of evaluating your research. Moves from a journal-based measure towards a direct assessment of individuals' output. It doesn't identify the venue of publishing. So most of the time, when you publish your article's value depends on where you have published, which journal you have published. So that's not actually your worth, but it's the worth of the journal. But here, it is the worth of your own article on which you are judged, not on the venue of publication. And so support research assessment based on the intrinsic value of research and not the value of publishing. Now, I don't know how many of you heard about DORA, DOI. It's a worldwide movement where top researchers, organizations in the world are signing DORA agreement, where they say that venue of publishing is not important. It is the paper which is important. So all the DORA signatories are into this kind of open access publishing. Right? Benefit for institutes. So suppose if an institute, suppose Manipur University decides to adopt F1000 platform for their scholars, so the benefits is that supports an institution to enhance its academic ranking. So NIRF ranking of an institution depends on how many research articles have emerged out of that. So if this platform is adopted by them, then obviously there will be hundreds of articles will be published. So NIRF ranking will go up. Reduces the barrier to collaborative research through data sharing. So interdepartmental sharing of data, because they are all published research papers. Reduces research waste and enable others to build upon new ideas. Institutional branded research publication hub with end-to-end publishing managed by Taylor. So what we do, we create an e-journal for Manipur University, which is an open-ended journal, and everything process is manual. You just have to submit your papers, and we just do the whole process. It's a very easy way of boosting your research. And centralized open access, it becomes centralized open publishing hub to monitor and report effective utilization of research funds. So when a university gives out fund to the scholars, they don't know what happened to the fund, whether they have been used to publish or what happens. But here you get all the indices. It becomes as an administrator of research for an organization. Okay, how a researcher can publish on F1000? So basically there are three ways they can be associated with F1000 research. The number one is very simple. You simply go to f1000research.com, and as an independent researcher, you can submit your article. Right? I don't have internet, otherwise I would have seen you. So please note down this, and then you can go and explore this. Very, very simple, very user friendly. So one way is that you directly go. Secondly, your university signs a contract with F1000. And then we build for them an open research gateway. So on F1000 platform, we create a gateway of Manipur University, and through which all the researchers of Manipur University can start submitting the papers. So let me give you a little example. So these are the two ways. One is on the left hand side is a gateway. So this gateway we have created for University College of London. It sits on F1000 platforms. ISSN is of F1000. Citation is also F1000, but the gateway is branded for UCM. And there you can see submit your research button. So scholars start doing that. And the other second format is we built a whole new platform for Manipur University. So it's a white label version of F1000, which is an independent e-journal of Manipur University, e-journal platform of Manipur University, where the citation is owned by Manipur University, where the ISSN is also owned by Manipur University. So on the right hand side, you can see this is the one we have built for Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So they own it, but we service it from end to end. Under option 1, what happens? Where in the form of a smaller version, which is a gateway, it becomes an open hub for publishing research and other research output. So it is capable of publishing research in any format and faster research publishing. It is a fully peer-reviewed version. It's no different from a full F1000 portal. So all the research is peer-reviewed. Publishing other research-based output also, which is non-peer-reviewed. So Rather than peer review research, you can also publish. So for example, I was saying a poster. Poster need not have a peer review. So even that can be published, can be having a DO, it can have a DOI located, which is searchable and accessible by others. Hosting material from conference, meeting and workshops. So it becomes very easy. Suppose you do a conference and you come out with 100 papers from that conference. Generally what happens, you choose only 10 best papers and remaining you just go away because they are not fitting in the scope. But here all those papers can be published in a peer review format as well as a non-peer review format. Citation in this case will be F1000 research, name of the article and the DOI of that particular article. So F1000 research becomes the basis of the platform. So this is another example of a platform used by IDSI, and they use this, they are into basically health research. Now what else can be done once you have a gateway? Content can be themed into topic of strategic areas. So suppose that Manipur University has say 200 articles in 3 different subject areas. So those articles can be themed. So whatever has been published, they can be put like here as a theme. So it can be, for example, diaspora studies, or it can be, language and linguistics and whatever I don't remember the subject. So they can have themes and paper can be put under those themes. Immediate indexing of all the peer review content. Showcase full range of research output. So as I mentioned, it can have research article, it can have document, it can have poster, it can have slide published on this. Bring all organization research regardless of publishing value limited. So if Manipur University has 200 constitution colleges and say 10 of them have their own websites, so all can be integrated into one single platform. So this is a bit of marketing stuff, I won't touch much on that. And then option 2, as I said, it's the bigger version. There you have your own unique citations. So for example, in this Open Gates research, they have Gates Open Research, a lot of organizations in the, this is a citation, and then they have their own ISS in that case. This is another platform which is owned by Wellcome Trust, which is one of the largest NGOs in medical health segment. They are also using F1000, and so this is some data they got from there. So median time to submission of publication 23 days, median time to processing peer review 78 days. So here in 78 days the peer review was processed. And then 50% of the research published are the traditional research articles, and 44% are the other types of articles, like which are non-peer reviewed articles. So all this matrix can be found from there. So basically, just in summary, what I would say is that the creation of the world-leading branded open access publishing gateway can position the research at the central stage, high profile and the core of open research. This can enable an institution to do opportunity to support grant funding programs and grantors. So you can justify if the Manipur University is getting grant from some private organization, so you justify that grant because you are confident that you have the platform when you do publish it. It is experimental, flexible option with scope to grow. Things existing university institutions publishing options. Website, we can do website integration, new features to option to scale up, to bring organizations as a gateway and create a university institution. So a gateway can be developed into a platform in the later stages. And it's very simple, cost effective, exciting entry beyond open access publishing. And low risk and low barrier to entry into a new publishing program. So rather than setting your own e-journal, which is a very costly affair, you go with this and own your own journal. So again, before I end this presentation, I will come back to the philosophy. Research should be published to pass. It should be published without any restrictions. So that is the new world of publishing. That is the open access publishing platform. And thank you very much. We can open up for the questions if you have any. And even later on, when we will be accessible, if any of the researchers have any queries, questions to the new happening in open access research, we are available as data analysis. So thank you very much.
questions, please speak up now.
Don't hesitate, just ask any questions, and no question is a silly question, so you can, that's how you broaden your horizon actually.
Sir, can I say?
Yes, please.
So here, this is about the F1000 research platform
Right,
from the institutional level.
right.
So can we submit paper at an individual level?
Yes. So actually even, so as I said that even without Manipur University subscribing to this, you as an individual can go to www.f1000research.com and then you will have a button. Just click that and then there is a form which appears to you and then you submit you fill that form and your paper is submitted.
So if there is any field for the area of, area of my study or the area of my, submission of my paper.
Right. So there are, on the F1000 you can go and see there are many gateways, many mini journals on that. So either you can go and see which one is relevant for you or otherwise it allows you to just submit your research. And it doesn't require to be clubbed with a particular journal or a field. So your article will be published and judged on the basis of its own value. So there are both the options available on F1000 research.
Any further questions?
Yes, please.
So, just one doubt. That means there is no fee for the review.
So, okay, so that's a very important question. See, open access publishing in general is, you have to pay an article processing charge, right? And you go to any publisher, any journal. Open access, you have to pay either from your own pocket or through the institutional funding. So when you get a research fund, you also get a part of it which is for publication of the journal. So yes, all open access journal, including F1000, they are paid platforms. So you pay an APC, and once your article is accepted, then only you pay your APC, and then your article is submitted. It's business. It's only people have to earn. They have to. So even if you pay when you subscribe a journal, the university pays money to the publisher, right? And but here they pay before the publication. Thank you.
No more questions? So there is a question.
Oh, sorry.
So you have talked about the publication.
Right.
What if we want to read an article? Is there any?
Yes, so in open access, everything is as you say open, but so you go to F1000 and you type any topic keyword, so anything which is published through F1000 will be openly available for you. You don't have to pay for that. You free, read it, full format is going to be free for you.
There are no further questions for Mr. Bhardwaj, then I would like to introduce the next speaker. First of all, thank you, Mr. Bhardwaj,
Thank
for
you.
a very
My pleasure.
informative presentation.
My pleasure. Thank you.
The next speaker of the session is Mr. Surjit Sarkar, who is the sales manager of books, Taylor and Francis Group, Routledge, who will talk about insight into publishing books. So the room is yours.
Thank you. Hope I am audible. Pankaj had spoken about a complete new concept which is now coming globally. Open access publishing. Open access means we have started with. It is a revolution which started some 7-8 years ago in Europe, basically in the Eastern Europe, where the universities refuse to pay. Means what happens is you see the most of the research, actually whatever it comes in the database comes either from US or from Europe. And Europe's what the European Union says they fund actually all the research, and then they need to pay a whole lot to subscribe it. You are a university or you are an individual. Let's say your paper have got, even on Taylor Francis, we are part of that site, have been published in one of our largest impact factor journal. But as an individual, you can't read it. What you will be, restricted to is up to the abstract. The full paper, $60. Pay $60, then you can, or $30, then you can read. So the whole concept is changing. So what Pankaj, the platform, we are also adapting accordingly. So the whole presentation of Pankaj was on that. I am the traditional man. Whatever we are doing for the last 200 plus years, I will be presenting that. The traditional publishing model. This is what Telefrancis is. This is 5,500 plus books each year we have written. Our each year cycle is actually 6 months cycle. In a year we publish in total near about 10,000 books. So this is what we publish. Our activity in India, so if you say what Telefrancis is doing in India, we have brands. We are known by, if you say Telefrancis, Telefrancis is generally, when you say the word Telefrancis, it is associated with our journal brand. Our journals are termed as Telefrancis journals. But when it comes to books, books, Telefrancis, even I say I come from Telefrancis, पहले तो डिपार्टमेंट में ऐसा देखते हैं, कहाँ से आता है, कौन सा भूत है, Routledge, आ जाओ भैया, पहला एंट्री है. So we are known by our brands, which are much larger than our corporate identity, Telefrancis. So Routledge is the brand which works for HSS, which is our HSS brand. CRC is a brand in science and technology. So these are the two reputed. Other brands like we have Focal Press, which is basically in arts. So arts, photography, we have Focal Press, and we have few more textbook brands like Garland Science, which are more in sciences. But the main two brands, what we under which we publish our books are Routledge and CRC. Routledge for the sciences and engineering, CRC for sciences and engineering, and Routledge for the HSS part. In India, we have a program, we call it Routledge India Originals. This is basically a South Asia program. It started more than, now it is about 14 years. We come from 2016, it was 10 years we started running this program from 2006. 2006 I hope so, Pankaj sir? Yeah, 2006. We started this Routledge India. Routledge India, see, Routledge, whatever we publish globally. We are global, we are a global company. Whatever is being published from Routledge is global. But still we have a program called Routledge India. We differentiate it in a bit, not that we are publishing in India, but the publications are themed around India. So that our publications you can publish, means it gets published globally, everything is globally. Submit to our global editorial or to the India editorial. In India editorial takes care of few of the topics which are themed around India. Rest, and we have quite a lot of authors from Manipur University too, for your information. So this is a program from 2005-6, yeah. So STM books, in STM we do not, STM is one part, so science, technology and medicine. This is under CRC, we do it globally. These are journals, and then we have now India-based editorial team. We have something, our presence in India right now is more than 200 people. 10% of them are in sales, promotion, everything. The 80% of them are in editorial. The editorial consists of a team which is called, who interacts with researchers, authors and those. They are called commissioning peoples. So we do have a lot of commissioning peoples in India, as well as we have teams in India who does all these peer-reviewed things. We have processes which are outsourced from our whole global company. So this is another way, means in a way I will see this is not about publishing, this is an opportunity to work with Telefrancis even. Every person, means in the research review team, we employ all the doctorates who have done research, who know about research and do that. So you always, for every researcher, after you do research, so it is not just everybody looks for teaching. This is also an avenue, Routledge, Tel Francis. We look for people's routes in India who can work for us. So this is mainly for that. This is our local expertise and support. And what we do is, to the library, we tailor efficient customer services in the form of what you require, what your research is going on. We have a team, a business development team, which goes to, which evaluates every universities, what research is going on. And we propose to the university based on, let's say in our database, we have more than 2 lakh alive books. Books alive means there are something like we have published much more. The books which are in print, the word comes in the books which are in print. I think most of you will, there are books which are out of print and the books which are in print. So our books, we have more than 2 lakh books in print, which is 90% of them are research, they are not textbooks. Textbooks are something different. So a researcher, you can't, as a researcher, will you browse through, let's say in your subject also, you will go, you will have more than 10,000, any subject, you will have more than 10,000 to 12,000 books. For a researcher, it becomes very tough, or a department doesn't, look around 10,000 books. But if you, concise your topic, if you come to your topic, our BD teams that activity proposes the university, this is your research going on, we have this much material for you. So it saves your time, it enhances your research. So we does those activity too from our side. Why partner with Tel Francis? I told a lot of things. It's better, browse through, and if any questions on this, I will be happy to answer. Definitely trust, excellence, optimization is what we are known for. We are one of the largest academic publishers in humanities and social science. We are the largest academic publisher, and if you say we are among the top 3 total academic publishers in the world, so that's why we are known for. Tel Francis, when we say we have grown from years to years. 10 years back, Tel Francis and today's Tel Francis is quite a big. I joined this company 6 years back. 6 years back and today, it's a huge difference. We have acquired companies in the process. Let's say we acquire, as a salesperson, for me it's very tough to. Every year a new list, a new company has been acquired and it becomes a part of Tel Francis. You go to the UGC criteria, UGC list, publishers who are treated to be as international. They list 10 publishers right now. It is from 2017 they have listed. The list they haven't changed. In the 10, when you go actually, 4 of them are Tel Francis companies. So that is one company. CRC has been listed differently. Routledge has been listed. Asgate has been listed. They are all part of Tel Francis. So now, if you actually go to the UGC, it is actually now 5 or 6 companies, the rest are Tel Francis companies. So we have grown. Recently we have taken over like Asgate, we have taken over a lot from Pearson, we have taken over big publishers like Westview, Parseus. We used to publish a lot, in especially in English, when you speak about English, there are a lot of books from Parseus and Westview in your subject, which is now part of us. These are the people's known, I think all of you know, who have published all their works with us, most of their works with us. These are the brands, what they represent at. Apart from F1000, these are the other 2 platforms, Cogent OA and Tel Francis Open. So these are also other 2 open access platforms for our regular journals we have. These are some of the testimonials from our authors. So we try to be India specific. Now I talk about books. I'm primarily today here for books. My presentation does contain publishing in journal, but I will be concentrating on books. I will leave this presentation for you all. You can have a mail and you can get this presentation. It have all the formats. You can refer to this presentation afterwards too. So in books, these are the topics of which I will look at. First is, a book is being classified into different types. What you are publishing. People say, I published a book. What you have published. Whether you have published a reference, whether you have published a monograph, whether you have published a textbook. Everything have a different flavor. Everything have a different approach, even to not only to write, even to publish. So you have to be very specific what you are publishing, and this all depends on your audience as well as your research or what you want to publish, the content as well as the audience. These are classified on these two criteria. So the first topic I will be taking the last one. The other thing is what is a book proposal, how is a review process, and the other, although these two are the main, book proposal and the review process, which I will be looking at, and the publication proposal, the contract signing and confidentiality, you can ask questions to me on those. This is what, when you need to write, this is how you need to, I have formed it in the form of questions. These are the questions you need to ask when you draft a book proposal. Why have you decided to write a book? The primary question everybody needs to answer. Why have you decided to write a book? The answer can be very simple. I decided to write a book for my promotion. Accepted, nothing wrong in it. You should be honest to yourself. The question is, this is not a question which you want to answer a publisher. This is the questions what I am giving is you need to answer yourself first. Have you considered a table of content? The first comes to. Then, what is the title? Have you considered a market? Market in the sense, my word is market, actually the audience, for whom you want to write. आप अगर बोलते हो कि मैं अपने प्रमोशन के लिए भी लिख रहा हूं या लिख रही हूं, then also comes. Ultimately, it will go to somebody. To whom? You must have an audience. The audience somebody needs to answer. Then, have you set a deadline? That's the most important aspect. When you write and you don't have a deadline, we have something like we have 3 years for PhD, to do PhD. People take it, okay, 5 years. 5 years बाद फिर से 1 साल का extension मिल जाएगा. वैसा होता नहीं है. 3 years, you know that you have to complete within 2. When you say 3 years, it is 2 years, 9 months, 2 years, 10 months. 3 महीना आपको extra रखना होता है. तो उसमें चला जाएगा reviews और उसमें. So this is what you have to set a deadline. Your deadline should be the first thing you should be knowing. Then definitely number of pages. The question comes, why number of pages? Number of pages also comes when you initiate a proposal. Because you can have 20 pages or 30 pages material. Can that be a book? Can that be a book? It can't. You have 1,000 pages thesis, you want to convert it to a book. Can that be a book? Both can't. I'm telling about the extremes. Both can't. A standard book is something around 250 to 300 pages. Something more, something less. Standard is around 300. 200 भी हो जाता है, but 500 भी होता है. But can't be more, can't be less. Those will be very different things. So you have to, what's the number of pages? You have to pre-decide. Now comes, you have answered all those satisfactorily and have sent us what we are going to do with it. That also should be clear to you. Now what we do is, how many reviews are really necessary? comes the question. I will discuss afterwards is the ways now we are publishing. Except means from direct publishing, we are now have other ways of how we are publishing. And then we look for reviews. When somebody submits a manuscript, definitely it has been reviewed. How many reviewed and how it has been reviewed is the question comes. How many reviews? We frankly say you can have one review also. We can accept a manuscript with one review. Do not say, although the standard is 3 review, we can accept a manuscript with 1 review. But the review should answer all the questions. What the publishers want to know. What is there on the book proposal. And your topic, the topic you have taken up, the marketability, all those things need to be answered on that review. You can submit 10 reviews, but all the 10 reviews haven't answered all the questions. Your reviews are not done. A single review can do if it answers all the questions.
Must I incorporate reviewer suggestion I don't agree with?
Not necessary. Not necessary. But then you have to have a logic. Why not? The publisher will definitely ask you, why not? If your logic is correct, publisher will do. Publisher is not the subject expert. He will get another review on your comment. Why you are not accepting the first one? If that comes true, there is nothing wrong for us to publish.
What kind of experience does a first time author need to write a book?
See, experience is, frankly speaking, Routledge is known for, publishing new scholars. I'm telling you my experience. Nobody kindly do not take it otherwise, especially sir. I once walked in North Bengal University. HOD sir थे, सब थे. First gone to HOD sir's room, बात हुआ. Little entertained, something. बाकियों से बात कर लो. बाकी senior professors. I go to senior professors only. तो बात हो रहा है. So busy हूँ, ये हूँ, वो है. I was having quite a lot of time. बाकी department भी बंद थे, and it was. I saw a corner guy sitting around who was something looking around 32 years of age guy sitting on a corner room. Generally, other publishers doesn't walk into. क्या करेगा? I am ultimately a salesman. मैं तो जाऊँगा तो भैया मेरे को तो कुछ revenue चाहिए. उससे recommendations मिलेगा तब ना मैं जाऊँगा. I walked in. That guy said, "Oh, Routledge, come sit." I took out my list, started discussing with it. I took the catalog, opened it. See, how many copies of this book have sold in your region? Can you tell me? इसको किस लिए चाहिए? Just. तब मैं बोल के वही नॉर्थ बंगाल में आंसर देना बहुत तकलीफ हुआ है. No, this is my 4th book. This is my 4th book. I am your red carpet author. Is it? Yes. He used to be in some US university. He had just moved to North Bengal where his parents stay and he is teaching. He said he published his first book at the age of 27. Routledge haven't. And he said Routledge was the publisher who published. And that is why he keeps publishing with. He says in that US university, his top guy, he also publishes and I got the opportunity to publish. That is how Routledge treats. And that is the differentiator of Routledge with the other publishers. No. Why do proposals get rejected? This is the basic questions. I think now you must have got the answers. If you are not answering correctly the above questions, it is bound to get rejected. Rejected, also the next answer to me is, I will give the answer. Rejection doesn't mean end. When something gets rejected, try to again answer yourself on the first, all the questions. There is always a next time it will get accepted. So if you answer them correctly, you will get, your book will definitely, your proposal will definitely get accepted. bad review hurt my chances of getting this book published? I will say, of course. See, every one of us are human. Our reviewers too are human. It depends on. We as a publisher can't certify that this reviewer will give always a 100% correct review. That is when the earlier question came. You need to, a bad review came. You do not have to incorporate the suggestion. You have to defend your case. If you can defend your case properly, we are ready to accept it. We can get it reviewed again. So, and if a review have a content which is to be answered, then you need to review your manuscript. So, these are the cases you have to look at. The other aspects I won't be touching. I think when a publisher, when somebody of you have a ready manuscript, these are the questions you should be asking the editor or even us if you contact. Then these are relevant. Royalties, copyright permission are definitely. Copyright permission is, I will touch to it, one topic. Yes, you require copyright permission. Anything available on net is not copyright free. I think as a researcher, all of you know the world is not free to select, copy, paste. Everything what has been, Pankaj sir have before have given F1000. The concept of F1000 is open publishing. It's completely free. आप ऊपर में F1000 platform में है, सब कुछ free आप download कर रहे हो. You can download everything down. It's not means you can't publish it, you can't use it. Free में मिला है, you can't use it. Concept comes is now everything is becoming free. So it is, you have to look for copyright permissions. Anything published means like in a platform of F1000, if it has been published, you know where from it have published. So you need to seek permission for the materials you are being using. There are copyright laws which is very easily downloadable. There is copyright law of India. It's not although the document is I think about 7 pages, but if you read 2-3 paragraphs, you need to read it. I won't be circulating it. Every researcher needs to read it, and it's very easy, nothing complicated. But you have to keep that in mind. The copyright comes definitely the first criteria to choose or to reject a manuscript. Who will edit my manuscript? Author grants. These are the things The answer is when a person completes a manuscript. These are the questions we can ask, but not now. This is the complete editorial process. A bit hazy on the screen. Take the PPT and have a printout. It will be clear to you. This is a complete, you have designed the complete process. You can have the process in your hand, ready in your hand whenever you want to publish. These are the types of books we do. This is our featured author program. We have right now, authors who have published one or now it is 2 or more, minimum 3 books we have. So we run a featured author program. We promote them separately on social networks and all our conferences where we go. So they get preference in promotion. So we do all those things also, the marketing things. We have a huge marketing team. Journals I am not touching, the slide will have. So any questions on journal, there are journal contacts also given in this slide. You can ask the journal persons directly. I am not a person of journal. Although I will just have a run, this also contains the journal publishing process. Here, see. This also have the journal publishing process for your reference. You all can have a handy printout of this. I will go back to this slide, the type of books. The last topic I said I will be speaking about. References. References are generally the research what you want to publish. Does references means edited No. References can be single author, references can be authored book as well as the edited book. References are themed topic wise on a particular topic. If you are publishing, it is the latest research. If you are publishing which is not an established course material, which is not still in the courses, those are called references. So you have to when you term what you are going to publish, you need to know these terms very well when you approach a publisher that I want to get my manuscript published. I want to get my book, we haven't called that a book unless you get it published. So it is a manuscript. You have a manuscript, you want to get it published, you have to choose a term which suits you. Comes the monograph. What's a monograph? Sir, would you answer that? Or should I?
Yeah, please.
See, that's also means, the same thing. As we call it as a reference on a topic, what we look at as new research. It's an anthology, particularly anthology on a topic, which states the topic completely. When you publish a monograph, it have a complete description of the subject. When it comes, or the topic you are choosing on, if it's in a way complete, you have published a monograph. When you describe, it is not an open-ended thing, or it is not just an information. It's a total, means what not even say, I won't use the word introduction, it is a total overview of the topic. When you publish, it's called, you are publishing a monograph. Definitely, next one is a textbook. Most wonderful case. In India, everyone wants to publish a textbook. The most challenging part is to publish a textbook. You think, I have written something, there will be hundreds of students who want to read it. Go back. When you are a student, you used to be a student. Which books you have read? मार्केट में एक बुक आ गया है, वो नाम है, आप ऑथर ने सोचा, एज अ स्टूडेंट हैव यू रेड दोस? नेवर. Why? Which books you have written and why you have written means read needs to be answered, and those are text. Text are pure course books. Again, I will say course book, there is something difference between a course book and a textbook. Course book is something you have to follow, something we call a course material, is a university, aapka means what do you say, syllabus, means the syllabus published in a university which follows. Textbook doesn't follow the university syllabus. When you publish a textbook with Taylor Francis or any major publisher, what you do is you publish the entire content on that topic. Let's say it is Manipur University, you have in your syllabus, you have a paper of, let's say, Indian drama, you may be having 5 authors, 6 authors, but you are publishing a book on Indian drama. You have to cover a lot of 20 authors. You must be describing. 5 may be taught in Manipur University, 5 may be taught in Calcutta University. But your book is complete when you are publishing a range. Textbook should have a full range. Then it is called a textbook. Textbook, another is, it should be completely appropriate for the students. Students whom, maybe a postgraduate student. A postgraduate student also needs textbook. Undergraduate or wherever, your audience, the audience you are selecting, you have to first select an audience there. Your audience, whom you are targeting, should get the complete content he requires. Then only it can get established. आप भी सोचो, वैसे जब आपको टेक्स्ट बुक मिलता है, so you refer to that. You used to be on your students. Let's say your professor in a class have named 1 book or 2 books, but you came to know this book contains everything or something new. You need to write your assignments. You can't just copy from 1 book which all your classmates are using it. There when a new textbook's relevance comes. Last is a short form. Short form is something, it's a short form of a reference book. It is, we call it a short form. Focus series we publish in different names. It is about a book which is about, let's say, 160 to 240 pages. If a page count is between that, 220. If a page count of, but the reference or the research is worth publishing, or the topic is worth publishing, we publish it in the form of short form. So that means I am not saying that आपके पास अगर 150 पन्ना है या 140 पन्ना हुआ है, so it can't be published. See, also A4, in A4 single space, if you have 200 pages written, it comes to be on the final book form, it will be 260 pages. So 140 or 160 pages in A4 single space, if you have written, then it will become a standard, it will qualify for a standard text, standard thing. If it is less than that, 120 or something, then you can have a short form of it. You can publish a short form. Any questions? Till now, any questions?
Sathoiba, any problems which you encountered?
Sir,
Yes.
actually I want to ask a question about this monograph. Could you please give a little more idea? Can monograph be called as summary?
No,
No,
No?
it's not.
Actually, I haven't get the main point of this monograph.
See,
What is your name?
Rizwana,
From which
philosophy.
I'll answer in your terms.
Yes.
See, monograph, let's say in philosophy, when you say, let's you are writing about, the names are, you want to write something on Simon Freud. Simon Freud. You want to write something on him. What will you do? If you take, one of his topic or two of his just of a topic, and you give a brief, like your research, what you have done, and you just want to just is publishing that part only. The research you are just changing it to. It doesn't qualify for the monograph. It qualifies only when you give a overview of that person, of his, let's say, one particular side of the work even, that's accepted. That should be in your title extension. If you say complete Simon Freud, then it comes to be that you are giving it full one. Then you can have on, let's say, psychology, or let's say religion. Then you are giving one aspect of it, but you are describing that aspect fully. It qualifies for a monograph. That's the difference. The anthology should be, complete.
Okay, where the thesis will stay, PhD thesis or dissertation. Neither textbook.
So PhD thesis in our
PhD thesis can be developed as a book.
as
As a
monograph,
reference.
as a monograph.
Yeah.
So it can be developed as a monograph, but when you change it to a
this
monograph,
comes to be clear.
yeah, I'm very frank. If you want to change your thesis can be changed into two forms. One is reference, the other is a monograph.
Yes.
When you change it to a monograph, you need to completely change. You can't have the introduction, you can't have then review of literature, then you can't have that process. It's not to be, the literature is to be reviewed at every chapter, the earlier literature. You have to structure it like that. Then it can become a monograph. But if you have a reference, if you are publishing a reference, then you don't have a structure similar, not completely similar, you need to bit modify to a reference, where your scope means why you are choosing the methods needs to be, and your conclusion should be the bigger part. It comes to in a reference form. So you can have the conclusion detailed throughout the chapter, means throughout the text. So that in that way you can have the reference.
And something very important to notice, register is that if you approach a standard publisher, especially a global publisher, never mention that it's a PhD thesis, because generally publishers avoid publishing thesis because they think that it's a little narrow in its scope, and because they will whatever we publish, it goes to the global world. So it has to be more than a thesis. So a thesis is a foundation, and then you develop it to be a concept on that particular foundation. So then it becomes a problem. So if Rauti come proudly and say, I want to publish a thesis, there are chances that it will be rejected. But then you say that this is my foundation and I want to build upon it and write a book out of my research. So then it's more acceptable and open.
One thing I haven't written on this because I generally doesn't discuss that on an editorial because it doesn't comes to me directly. One more thing we have published in this is conference proceedings.
Yes.
So I haven't included that because the conference proceedings, the later things like the proposals, the review processes are not relevant to what it is relevant to this. It is a complete different. You do not have then this process has to be followed. We do publish conference proceedings also. We have a company called, a brand called Balkema, under which when we do for outlets too. But majority we have a brand called Balkema who specializes globally in publishing conference proceedings. So around, let's say, how much? 300-400 conference Balkema every year books comes out from Balkema. These are something, these are sort of a now what we call, now we are integrating it into open access completely because it used to be paid publishing. Conference means we do not accept money. What we used to do is you need to have a assured buyback. Let's say you have 200 or 100 assured buyback, then only we will publish. Yes, we do follow in that case also. We will be running all the papers, plagie check, everything before publishing. In that case too, आप जो पेपर देंगे हम चुपचाप नहीं publish करेंगे, क्योंकि copyright problem will come. Although the copyright at that time, the rest of the time the copyright is mostly with the publisher. In a conference proceeding, the copyright is with the editors. Because this copyright, when I have said, all of you kindly go to the copyright law. The copyright law, actually describes the thing. You can, means people say when they approach a publisher, किसके पास copyright रहेगा? Big question. Without understanding, I have found, let's say if 100 people are asking this question, 95 of them doesn't understand why they are asking this question. Copyright ownership, copyright with a publisher and copyright with an individual doesn't have a difference. ओनरशिप चला नहीं जाता कि आपके नाम पे कॉपीराइट है या पब्लिशर के नाम पे कॉपीराइट. अगर पब्लिशर के नाम पे कॉपीराइट है तो वो मटेरियल पब्लिशर का पूरा नहीं हो गया. It doesn't becomes the complete property of the publisher, or the copyright is with the author doesn't restrict a publisher to be a owner. The publishers are still the owner because they have published. You can't publish the same material to any other publisher, any form, even if you do own that copyright. So copyright have a very different, means complete. I will request, go to the copyright site. The complete things are detailed, and whenever you speak about with a publisher anything about copyright, have your concepts clear first hand. Any questions?
Normally you may encounter as a research scholar, like that's why we always have a chapter called plagiarism, right? So you can throw light on that and inquire, because they are doing this professionally and they avoid, they tackle, they call copyright, whereas academically we use.
What I will do is, because I have done this presentation in
Yeah.
my boss's system, so
I'll share with.
yeah, share with
You share
sir,
with me and I will share
and
with
kindly
you.
share with. This presentation is copyrighted.
before we come to the conclusion, because you all are largely research scholars for which this kind of workshop is being initiated, right? So, I mean, we are also looking forward that let there be a kind of, platform, irrespective of philosophy, language, this and that. So, we will give the opportunity, right? I mean, we will create the opportunity for future academic, purposes. But what you have in your mind, if you don't express, in academic we say, publish or perish. There are many theses. When it is not published in time, it will automatically perish. The relevance will be lost. Whereas some people will collect those things and bring references, improve and publish. And they get the credit. A lot of hard work is there. So please do ask questions if you have.
One thing I would like to state, because you all seems to be new researchers.
Yeah, largely.
Largely. See, what happens is, everybody completes their PhD. Don't mind, starts family, starts job after that. Forget about their PhD completely. 5 years, 7 years, teaching हो गया assistant professor में, then they require a promotion of associate. Everybody,
Even professors.
whatever. International publishing with an international publisher gives you a book. Publishing a book with international publisher gives you 40 API points. I confirmed with sir in the morning.
If it is single author.
Single author, even if it is authored, means two authors.
Co-author it should be divided.
It's split. So something around means you get a lot of API points. So उसके लिए सारे के लोग publish करते हैं. Means 90% of the people who come to us, their main objective we also understand and we appreciate. See, आपका कुछ भी objective हो सकता है. There is nothing wrong in it. What we say is, and for that, whatever the PhD you have done, you will see the relevance of that PhD ends after 3 years. The day your thesis has been submitted, a year after, somebody else in your university only, if not in other part of the world, has been working on the same topic. If his works come out, and now it is completely coming global, everything is coming on a global platform. Your universities are, all the universities in India are being asked to upload their theses.
Everything.
So it will be up. आज से 10 साल पहले जिसने PhD किया हुआ है, उसका thesis चुपचाप आपके लाइब्रेरी में बाइंडेड रखा हुआ है, नो प्रॉब्लम. 90% लोगों को नहीं पता. मैं जब PhD कर रहा था, मेरे को लिए भी सारा का सारा चीज ना ओपन है सामने. And no, the next time it will be completely open. All the things, whatever is, will be completely open. So somebody else will start the next day to do something above you, above your topic. What happens is, in the 3-year time, we take that, your research actually loses relevance. So if you want to convert your thesis into a book, it should be converted within 3 years. That's a golden time.
Yes.
We call it a golden time frame. So you kindly remember this. This is just out of the business what I have spoken of.
And if you have good articles and good books, automatically people will search and invite you.
You'll be cited.
Right, you'll be cited. And it will be known. Every, platform will give you. Right. But that is the advantage. That's why, Manipuri dance, there are scholars from Manipuri dance having made, English, even philosophy, even English, we have good scholars this time. That's why we need a platform, so that you can share your opinion, and you may have a lot of grievances, I have, but we have to solve, right? Supporting each other.
Thank you, Mr. Saraf, for giving us a very informative insight into the world of publishing. Now I want to request Dr. Chintam Daina Devi, Assistant Professor of Department of English and Cultural Studies, Manipur University, to please give the word of thanks and conclude today's program. collaboration with the Department of Adult Continuing Education and extensively supported by ALTI, that is English Language Teachers Association of India, and CTEF, Council for Teachers Education Forum, Manipur chapter. Would like to extend vote of thanks to the two key presenters from Taylor and Francis Group, Ruthless. First, Sir Pankaj Bhargava for his presentation on new trend in open access research publishing, introducing F1000 research, and also for introducing this innovative way of publication, which is very helpful for the research scholars now who are facing the problems of publication. Thank you for that. And Sir Shurjit Sarkar, Sales Manager, Books, Taylor and Francis Group, on highlighting how to publish books and also the key issues of copyright, and also information on Booklets and Taylor and Francis. Thank you for that. And I'd also like to thank Professor I. Gambhir Singh, Head of Department in this Department of English and Cultural Studies, ALTI, Chairman of ALTI, Manipur chapter, for his valuable contribution in turning this workshop, one-week workshop, into a reality. And I also like to thank Dr. R.K. Suresh, General Secretary, CTEF, Manipur chapter, for his valuable input. And lastly, I would like to thank all the faculties and scholars of Manipur University present today in turning this workshop into a success.